So I'm going to try to get through the rest of these slides in about 10 minutes or so that we can do a little activity. So this is thinking more micro. What we did was we said, what are the 100 most popular posts? And by popular, we meant attract the most new users. So here we're sort of thinking of a measure of movement recruitment, right? If you're going to bring people into the movement, what are you going to put on Facebook to do that? And so that's what I'm going to talk about for the next few minutes. And so we categorized these posts, again, hand-coded and read them all. And what we find is a lot of them are calls to solidarity. Well, what does that mean? It means something like this. This is a picture of, clearly a large number of protesters. And it's the idea that there's a lot of people doing this, that we're not alone, that we're not the only one protesting, that this is really a meaningful event for a lot of people, and you should either feel like there's solidarity or feel like you should become part of the movement, right? And so people join, they share these pictures, they talk about them. Here's another example, right? People at a protest. This is sort of makes you feel warm if you're, inclined to like the movement. You feel like there's a lot of people, like it's really working. Something like this also we consider solidarity because the idea from what we could see was that, everybody's in it together. Again, you see this sort of anonymous influence happening here. They also found things like this, which were meant to sort of be, again, there's a whole community of people doing this everywhere. Occupy the Tundra. And I believe this is actually a woman, and the thing that looks like a beard is actually a scarf. But this picture gets really popular. People really like this idea that there's sort of like, this is happening everywhere. And then there's also sort of this sort of solidarity, which is like, there's 1,000 of us out here. And a lot of it ended with things like, come join us, or what are you going to do, or be a part of the movement, something like that. About 35 of these posts were what we considered confrontational. This typically involved the police, although it didn't have to. One of the videos is sort of this Marine yelling, and this gets really popular as well. So, you can always tell who came to start the riot by how they dress. And these are New York City riot police. And so this is sort of, very confrontational. This one is similarly kind of solidarity and kind of confrontational. And we had several posts that sort of straddled those lines. But NYPD is a layoff away from joining us, right, and clearly standing right next to these police officers. Another thing we found a lot of was elite support. Here you see Malcolm X, right, and the idea is that there's these people out there with these ideas, and we're in line with them, and we're a part of what's going on, and they would support what we're doing. And so this post, we actually found it twice in the top 100. That wasn't uncommon because the way that we sorted them was by giving each one credit as a unique post. And so it's posted through 2 different groups, and together it brings in 554 people, just this picture of Malcolm X. Another one, similarly thinking about elites and thinking about sort of historical support, is Roosevelt's Economic Second Bill of Rights, right? The idea that we're not protected from some of these really necessary economic aspects. Again, kind of coming back around to this whole "we are the 99% rhetoric and use. We found a lot of personal narratives, and they were really, really popular. So there's only 7 in the top 100, but this, for instance, is the most popular post that we found. It gets 22,000 likes, just this single narrative. And again, if you were looking at this at all, either on Facebook or in the media or whatever, there were a ton of these. And so this particular one, 22,000 likes, right? This guy is sort of, you can read it yourself, but this guy is sort of talking about what he wants for his kids, how he served in the Navy, and of course it ends with this, I am the 99%. What we found, and one of the reasons that we think this is really popular is because we would consider this guy as sort of an unlikely adherent, right? It's not sort of your typical, if you think of that in any way, occupier who is kind of an older man who is a veteran, right? That's not necessarily what people think about. Now, they might think about that if they think about sort of the homeless population and the homeless people who are involved, but in terms of sort of this, like, very clearly middle-class kind of approach, this is a little bit unusual. So this is originally posted to the We Are the 99% Tumblr page, and then it gets shared on Facebook. So October 6th, it's on the Tumblr. then it's shared on Facebook. 10,000 people post or comment on it. There's 10,000 posts or comments by 2,200 people on this post. And interestingly for us, as we're sort of looking at this is posted on the Occupy New Brunswick Facebook page. And so, this is sort of another, element of how much sharing there is across groups. Again, here's another one of those personal narratives that's pretty popular. This is a college professor, sort of talking about what he wants for his students, what he wants for himself, and giving this kind of call to this is all of us, this includes me. This one I find really interesting, and I would have shared it too, to be honest. It is this woman who's clearly out there protesting, and she's wealthy, right? She says, I am the 1%. She inherited a lot of money. She's never had to worry about it. Tax me, rich kid, for redistribution, right? And then she says, I stand with the 99%. So this is sort of privileged people are also behind the movement. Now, we didn't eliminate negative or what you would consider sort of anti-movement items. So here we have another popular post, popular for other reasons in our data set, are these sort of anti-Occupy Wall Street groups as well. We coded them separately, but we considered their posts as whether or not that was really common and popular. So here we have this guy, right? He's saying, "Don't blame me. I don't blame Wall Street. I'm also having these problems. I'm the 53% subsidizing you, so you can be on Wall Street, right?" And so there's some of this going on as well. Again, sort of, these unlikely adherents. Here's a World War II veteran with his walker sort of participating in this protest, and this is also popular. We found some of this, what I would call sort of surface typical Facebook engagement activity, which is to say, oh, let's poll everyone and see what they think. And so, these tended to get a lot of response. You can see here, 44,000 people like this. It gets a lot of response because it's asking for it, right? It's part of what the post is doing. We also found a few of these posts that are media inaccuracies. So this is I misspoke. This is the most liked post, and the other is the most commented post. But anyway, this and the first veteran are the most popular posts for bringing in new users in the entire data set. So this one's a little hard to read, so I'll read it to you. On the left, again, these are two posts, articles in the New York Times that come out online. One is at 6:59 on October 1st, and one is at 7:19 on October 1st. So really close in time. Right, both have the same exact look. On the left, it says, after allowing them onto the bridge, the police cut off and arrested dozens of Occupy Wall Street demonstrators. On the right, in a tense showdown over the East River, police arrested hundreds of Occupy Wall Street demonstrators after they marched onto the Brooklyn Bridge. And so the idea is that all you have to do is change a couple of words, right? And it only takes 20 minutes to shift the blame. This is really popular, right? This is sort of this is how we're being misled, and let's look at that. This appears 3 times in the top 100 posts, and it's posted from 2 individual users to Occupy pages, and then reposted by an Occupy group as well. This draws in something like 1,100 new users, just the combination of the 3 postings of this exact image.